Okay, this is the video for the equation of circles. So if we actually scroll down here. Okay, it's going to tell us right here, here's the equation. So the equation of a circle with the center hk and a radius r is going to be right here. Okay. So x minus h squared, quantity squared, plus y minus k quantity squared equals r squared. H and k are the center of the circle. So let's go back to the beginning here. And the question I guess we want to ask first is, how do we come up with that equation? Okay, the way we are coming up with that equation is we're using the distance formula. Right, so if we have a circle, okay, if we have a circle, and if the center of that circle is h comma k, okay, because we're calling the center of our circle hk, so we have the center circle and we have h comma k. Okay, and then we pick any point on the circle and we call that point on the circle xy. So again, it doesn't matter where, any point on the circle, xy is a point on the circle. Okay. The distance from the center to any point on the circle is the radius, so that's going to be r. And if we wanted to find the value of r, we would use the distance formula. Right? So the distance formula was the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So if our distance between those 2 points is r, okay, we can then plug into or substitute in for the distance formula. So x2 and x1, so our two x values are x and h. So here we're going to have x minus h squared. Okay, and then our two y values are going to be y and k. So then y minus k squared. Okay, if we square both sides to get rid of the square root, we get r squared. Square both sides, their inverse operations, the square root and the square, so they're going to cancel out essentially, and we get left with x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. Okay, so that's going to be then our equation for a circle. So it's coming from the equations, coming from the distance formula. We know the distance formula came from the Pythagorean theorem. And then we know the Pythagorean theorem is true because one of the proofs of it was with similar triangles. So everything's kind of tying together a little bit here. All derives from stuff from before. Okay. And then the example they were using here was 4 and -3. So instead of h and k, you'd be using 4 and -3. Let's go to some of the problems you guys will have to be doing on Friday. So the first type is, if they give you the equation for the circle, we need to find the center and the radius. So I'm just going to write the equation up here. We have x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Okay. So in the first one, there's an easy way to think of it, but it doesn't exactly explain what's going on. And then there's a more complete way of explaining it. I'm going to do the complete way first and then the easy way second. Okay, so the complete way for conceptual understanding here is we want to put this in the same form as x minus h. So we want to have x minus, so if we're going to subtract, it's then going to be, so instead of x plus 3, it's x minus a -3 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 4. So now if we look at our equation, h is -3 right here. So h is -3, and k is going to be 1. So the center of our circle is hk, which means the center of our circle is -3, 1. The easy way to do it is just flip the sign. So this is a +3, so it becomes a -3. It's a -1, so it becomes a +1. So if you're just doing that, flipping the signs, again, that's going to work, but you don't understand what's actually going on. If you want to understand what's actually going on here, we need to put in the form of minus. So minus a -3. X plus 3 is the same as x minus a -3. So h is -3, k is 1. That was the center of our circle. For our distance formula. Okay. Radius then is, so 4 is going to be equal to r squared. So we got to take the square root of both sides. We get r equals 2. So this equation gives us square root of this 4 is 2. Okay. And then here we have x minus the -3, y minus 1, so it's -3 and 1. Flip the signs, you get -3, +1. Okay, here x squared is the same as x minus 0 squared. We can do plus y minus 3 squared equals 18. So our center is 0, +3, 0, 3. Our radius, so in this case, h equals 0 and k equals 3. So flip the signs, this is a 0, so it's not going to matter if you flip the sign, it's just 0. Here you flip the sign and it becomes +3. So h is 0, k is 3. This equals r squared, so 18 is going to be our r squared. Okay, if we want to find r, we got to take the square root of both sides, and we get r equals square root of 18. It's fine if you put that. It's fine if you put the decimal, but the best answer is going to be to simplify this. So that's going to be the square root of 9 times 2, which is going to be equal to 3 square root of 2. Okay, but if you just, instead of putting 3 square root of 2, you just put square root of 18, or you put that in the calculator and get our decimal, I would be happy with both of those. So I'd be more happy with this, but any of those would work. Okay, number 3, again, an easy way to do this is to flip the signs. So we'd have -8 and -2. H is going to be the one that's associated with the x. K is the one that's associated with the y. So if I write this out the long way, we would have y minus -8 squared plus x minus -2 squared equals 72. Okay. So h is going to be -2, and k is going to be -8. Okay, all we have to do is flip the sign. So -2 and -8. So our center is -2, -8. Okay, they wrote the y first and the x second. Okay, then the radius. So r squared is 72. So it means square root of both sides, we get r equals the square root of 72, which again is fine, or you can put it in the calculator and get a decimal, or we can split it up into square root of 36 times 2, which is going to be 6 root 2. So the best answer is 6 root 2. Square root of 72 is perfectly fine. So that's number 1, A, B, and C. Number 2. We want to sketch the circles. In order to sketch the circles, we're going to need to know what the center and the radius are. So just from number 1, we should know how to find the center and the radius. So our center is going to be +1, -3. So again, if you flip the sign, okay, we don't need to rewrite them all. I'll write +1, -3, because our center. Okay, then our radius is going to be 2, because r squared equals 4. We take the square root of both sides and we get r equals 2. Okay, square root of 4 is 2. So we look at our graph. Our center is 1, -3, so we plot the point 1, -3. It's right here. So that's the center of our circle. And then we want to sketch the circle. So the circle, every point on the circle is going to be 2 units away from the center. So it'd be difficult if we go on a diagonal, but we can go straight up 2 units. And so we know there's a point here on our circle. We can go over 2. We know there's a point here on our circle. We can go down 2, and we know there's a point here. And to the left 2, and we know there's a point here. And then we can simply draw in our circle. Okay. Simply draw in our circle. So we found the center is -1, +1, -3, because we flipped the signs. That's our h, that's our k. Found the radius was the square root of 4. So plot the center, 2 points up from the center, 2 points down from the center, 2 points to the left of the center, 2 points to the right of the center. Draw in the circle. Okay, second one. Center is +2, -1. Flip the signs. Right, because it's really y minus a -1. So h is 2 and y is really -1. The radius is going to be a square root of 16, which is 4. Okay. The center is 2, -1, so the center is right here. Okay. Radius is 4, so we know that all the points on the circle are 4 units away from the center. So we can go up 4, put a point. We can go down 4, put a point. We can go right 4, put a point. We can go left 4, put a point. Then we can combine that in a circle. Okay. So there's our circle. All points on that circle are 4 units away from the center. Okay, next one, we have -3, +3. So this is really x minus a -3. So h is -3. Here we have y minus 3. So k is 3. And then our radius is the square root of 8, which is going to be equal to 2 root 2. 4 times 2 is 8, 2 root 2. So that's a little less than 4, I believe. Let me get a decimal on that. 2 square root 2. It's going to be 2.8. So it's about 3, a little less than 3. So our center is -3, -3, 3. Okay. And then a little less than 3. So if we go up 1, 2, 3, but a little less than 3. Okay, we go down 3, but not quite 3, a little less than 3. To the right 3, but not, again, not quite 3. And again, to the left 3. Again, not quite 3. We draw our circle. Right here. Okay, the fourth one, the center is -1, -2. So it's x minus a -1 and y minus a -2. So h is -1, k is -2. Radius is square root of 25 is 5. So center is -1, -2. Go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Left 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not the best circle, but it's a circle. Okay. That's our circle. Okay. It's the best I can do. Probably not the best I can do, but the best I'm going to do. Find the equation. So let's start with what the base equation is. It's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. We know h comma k is the center, and we know r equals the radius. Okay, r is the radius, h comma k is the center, and here's our circle. So our center is -6, -15. So what we really have here is x minus -6 squared plus y minus negative 15 squared equals r squared. So that's the square root of 5 squared, which is going to give us x plus 6 squared plus y plus 15 squared equals 5. Square root of 5 squared is 5, right? Square root of 5 times the square root of 5 is the square root of 25, which is 5. So that's our equation for the first one. Second one, again, we can do the same thing here, or we can just flip the signs. Okay, so let's just do it out. So we have x minus negative 11 quantity squared plus y minus negative 8 quantity squared equals 4 squared, the radius squared. Again, h and k were, h was negative 11, k was negative 8. So this became x plus 11. Okay, just switching the signs, plus y plus 8 squared, switching the signs, okay, equals 16. So that's the first two here. Let's do the second two. I'll leave the equation up there. Okay, the first thing we need to do for the third one here, well, let's put it in. So we're going to have x minus negative 11 squared plus y minus negative 14 squared equals the radius squared. So we need to find the radius. So we know that area, they're giving us the area. So we know area equals pi r squared. So the area is 16 pi. So we substitute in 16 pi for a. And we're solving for r. So we divide both sides by pi. Pi's cancel. We get 16 equals r squared. To get rid of the square, we have to take the square root of both sides, the inverse operation. That leaves us with plus or minus 4 equals r. We can't have a negative radius, so r is going to equal 4. So our radius is 4, so we have 4 squared. And again, we're just switching the signs, so this becomes x plus 11 squared plus y plus 14 squared equals 16. Okay. So again, we're just flipping the sign. Instead of negative, it's positive. Instead of negative, it's positive. We found r by using the area formula, and we squared the radius. Okay. The fourth one here, it's very similar. Okay, we got to find the radius, so circumference equals 2 pi r. We know the circumference equals 8 pi, so we can substitute in 8 pi for c. So 8 pi times 2 pi r, divide both sides by 8 pi equals 2 pi r, so divide both sides by 2 pi. 8 divided by 2 is 4, so our radius is 4. So we're here again, x minus negative 5, quantity squared, plus y minus 12, k is 12. And then we want r squared, so we want r is 4. So radius squared is 4 squared. So x plus 5 squared plus y minus 12 squared equals 16. That's going to be our equation for that one. Okay, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we're doing the same thing we did for number 3, except this time we need to use the circle that's given to us to find the equation. So here we have a circle. The center of our circle is right here. Okay, so the center is 1, 2, 3, 0. I'm sorry, 0, 3. X coordinate is first, so 0, 3. Okay, and the radius is 3 units long, so r equals 3. Okay, the tricky, I guess, kind of tricky here is each line here is only worth half a unit. So 2 lines are worth 1 unit. So this is 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit, 4 unit, 5 unit, 6 unit. So you have 0 to 6 is the diameter. Okay, but the middle point is the 3. So 0 to 3 is your radius, or 3 to 6. Okay, or you can go this way from 0 to 3, 0 to negative 3. So any way you look at it, radius is 3. You can do up, that's 3. Okay, that's 3. That's 3. If you wanted to, you could do something like that, and that would also be 3. So radius is 3. Okay, so again, our equation x minus 0 squared, so h is 0, k is 3, plus y minus 3, y minus k squared equals r squared, which is 3 squared. So we have x squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 9. That's going to be our equation for number 4. Okay. Number 5. So center of the circle is right here. That is 4, negative 3. So our center is 4, negative 3. Our radius is 1, 2 units. But if we look at the scale on the graph, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. So each 2 lines is 1 unit. So each line is half a unit. So we have 2 lines up. So the radius is just going to be 1 unit up, 1 unit down, 1 unit to the right, 1 unit to the left. So our radius is simply 1. Equation x minus 4 squared. Again, this is h, this is k. Then we have y minus negative 3 quantity squared equals r squared, so 1 squared. Okay. This gives us x minus 4 squared plus negative and negative is positive, so y plus 3 squared equals 1 squared is 1. So here's our equation for number 5. Number 6 and 7. Okay, so here's the center of our circle. The center of our circle is 0. Well, this wasn't a good one to do because they're not telling us exactly on the circle. We can just estimate it to be about. We can pretend we're hitting the lines here. Let's pretend here. There's always a problem I don't look at. You know. Let's pretend we are just a little bit larger and we're hitting all these lines here, so we can see how far along the radius is. They probably told us. I only copied the graph, assuming they were giving us a good problem. I mean, good numbers. So let's just assume we're hitting all these points here, I guess is what we should do. Okay. Just assume we're hitting all these points. Okay. So our center is 0, 3. Okay, our radius is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 up. Really, it's just a little under 4, but let's just say 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So our radius is 4. The distance from the center of the circle to the circle is the radius, which is 4 units. Really just under 4, but let's just say 4. Okay, so we have h and k and r, so we can put our equation together. So x minus h squared is x minus 0 squared plus y minus k squared, so that's y minus 3 squared equals r squared, so that is 4 squared. So x squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 16. It's really just under 16. It's really probably like a 15 or something. Somewhere in there. All right, well, we got one more. This one's a better one. So center of this circle looks like it's 1, negative 4. Over 1, down 4, so 1, negative 4. Scale is 1. Each line is 1 unit. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Our radius is 3. So again, our equation is y is x minus h. So this is h. This is k. So it's, again, let me write it out for this one. Y minus h, I'm sorry, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So h is 1, so x minus 1 squared plus y minus negative 4 squared equals 3 squared. So x minus 1 squared plus y plus 4 squared equals 9. That's number 7. Okay, so that's it for the stuff you need to know for the test on the, so if you can do those 4 sections, you'll be good for the test. The last section here, the 8 here, are completing the square. There will be 2 extra credit questions on the test for completing the square. So let's run through these. Okay, let's run through these examples here. So the goal of completing the square is to get small, I guess you'd call them, well, they're polynomials, but they're not equations. So expressions, to get 2 expressions, polynomial-esque expressions that we can complete the square with, that we can factor for a perfect square, right? A perfect square is something where you take the square root of it, you get to the same thing. So like the 64 is a perfect square, right? Because because 8 times 8 is 64. I don't know what I'm doing with this. It's the perfect square because, right, square root of 64 is going to give us a whole number. 8 times 8 is 64. Okay. So, all right, let's just go. So we want to get, first thing I want to do is move the constant, anything without an x or y, to the other side. So we're going to have x squared minus 6x plus y squared plus 8y equals 3. Okay, now we want to we want to complete squares. So we need to add things to the first side to get those complete squares. Okay, so x squared minus 6x. Okay, we want to add something. Then we're going to have y squared plus 8y. And we're going to want to add something, and that's going to equal 3. So to get a perfect square, okay, the way we're going to want to do this is we want to take the number here before the x, divide by 2, and then square it. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 squared is 9. And if we add 9 to this side, we have to add 9 to the other side. Okay. This way, we can factor this. So if we factor this, we get x minus, so if we were to factor this, we would get x and x. What adds to negative 6 but multiplies to negative 9, it's going to be negative 3. So it's a perfect square because we're multiplying the same 2 expressions together to get it. Okay. So we have really x minus 3 squared. Right? If we multiply x minus 3 times x minus 3, we get x squared minus 3x plus 9. Okay. Over here, divide the 8 by 2, which is 4. 4 squared is 16. We add 16 to this side. We have to add 16 to the other side. So plus y plus 4 squared equals, and all that is 25 plus 3 is 28. Add those together and we get 28. So this would be our equation for this circle by completing the square. Okay, I'm going to do 3 and 5 and then go up and do 2, 4, and 6. So number 3 here, we got to reorder it. So we want it ordered with x squared first, then x, then y squared, then y. So we're going to have to add y squared to both sides. Okay, so you're going to add y squared to both sides. Okay, so we're going to get x squared plus 8x. Add y squared to both sides, so we get plus y squared minus 2y equals 64. So we're going to have x squared plus 8x plus something plus y squared minus 2y plus something equals 64, because we want to make these into perfect squares. Okay, so to do that, again, we take the number before the x, that's 8 divided by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 squared is 16. So if we add 16 to this side, we have to add 16 to that side. Here, we have -2. We divide -2 by 2. That's 1. 1 squared is 1. If we add 1 to this side, we have to add 1 to the other side. Okay. So this is a perfect square now. So x plus this factors to x plus 4 squared. This factors to y minus 1 squared. X plus 4, that's x squared plus 4x plus 4x plus 16. So x squared plus 8x plus 16. Y squared minus 1y minus 1y plus 1. So minus 2y and then plus 1. And then that's going to equal 81. Okay, so there's the equation for our circle there. Okay, this one, again, we want to just make sure we get everything in the correct order here. It's the x's first and then the y's in descending order of the exponents. So x squared plus 14x plus y squared minus 12y. Want to move the -4 to the other side. So we want to subtract 4 from both sides. So we get -4. Okay. So we're going to have x squared plus 14x plus some number plus y squared minus 12y plus some number equals -4. So to find this number, we want to take 14 divided by 2, that's 7, and then square it. 7 squared is 49. If we add 49 to this side, we want to add 49 to the other side. Okay, here we have y squared minus 12y, so we divide 12 by 2, that's 6. 6 squared is 36. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 squared is 36. If we add 36 to this side, we have to add 36 to the other side. Okay. Find the factor for x squared plus 14x plus 14. Well, it should be a perfect square, so it should be something like x plus 7, and it is. X squared plus 7x plus 7x plus 49 is x squared plus 14x plus 49 plus y minus 6 squared, right? What adds to -12 but multiplies to get 36? 6 and 6. And then that's all going to equal -4 plus 49 is 45. 45 plus 36 is 81. And there's our equation for our circle. Let's do 2, 4, and 6. Okay, number 2. It's already in a pretty good order. We just need to move that 4 to the other side. So we would have x squared minus 2x plus y squared minus 4y equals +4, because we're adding 4 to both sides. So here x squared minus 2x plus something plus y squared minus 4y plus something is going to equal 4. -2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. If we add 1 to this side, we need to add 1 to the other side. Okay, then we have y squared minus 4y. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. If you add 4 to this side, you got to add 4 to the other side. It doesn't really matter if you think of it as -2 divided by 2 or 2 divided by 2, because when you square it, the negative is going to go away anyway. So you're always going to be adding a positive number. You're never going to be adding a negative number. Okay, so x squared minus 2x plus 1 will factor to x minus 1 squared, right? x times, so what adds to -2 and multiplies to +1? Well, that's -1 and -1. So it's a perfect square. Here, we're going to have plus y minus 2 squared. Okay, then that's going to be 9. So here's our equation for number 2. 4, we want positive numbers, positive x squared, positive y squared. Otherwise, it's not a circle. So we should have plus y squared and plus x squared. Otherwise, it's not a circle. So all of these are going to have positive x squareds and y squareds. So let's move them to the other side. So add x squared to this side, we get x squared. Add 24x to the other side, we get plus 24x. Add y squared to this side, plus 6y, leave 6y on this side, and then subtract 137 to the other side, we get minus 137. So we're adding y squared to this both sides, we're adding x squared to both sides, we're adding 24x to both sides, we're leaving the 6y, and we're subtracting 137. This way we have positive x squared, positive y squared. So it's going to be x squared plus 24x plus some number plus y squared plus 6y plus some number equals negative 137. So divide 24 by 2, that's 12. 12 squared is 144. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 squared is 9. Okay, so we're going to have x plus 12 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals, okay, if we added 144, we have to add 144. If we added 9, we have to add 9. That's going to be 7 plus 9. That's going to be 16. Okay, and that's our equation for the circle. Radius is 4. Center is negative 12, negative 3. Okay. 6 here. Okay. We just got to reorder it a little bit. So we have x squared plus 2x plus y squared minus 24y. So we're subtracting 24y from both sides. Then it's going to equal a negative 120. So we have x squared plus 2x plus some number plus y squared minus 24y minus some number plus some number equals negative 1. Okay, divide 2x. So divide 2 by 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. Okay, if I add 1 to that side, got to add 1 to this side. 24 divided by 2 is 12. 12 squared is 144. Now we need to add 144 to the other side. Okay, this is x plus 1 squared. We factor it. This one is y minus 12 squared if we factor it, and that's going to equal 25. Okay, and that's the equation we're going to get here. 2 more to go, 7 and 8. Oh, God, they don't give us much room. Okay, let's do number 7 right here. Okay, so 7. So it's going to be number 7. So we have x squared plus 2x plus y squared minus 10y, because we're subtracting 10y from both sides, and then it equals 55. Okay, so it's x squared plus 2x plus something plus y squared minus 10y plus something equals 55. Okay, 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 squared is 25. That means we need to add 1 to both sides and add 26 to both sides. Okay, so factor that, x plus 1 squared plus y minus 5 squared equals, that's 56. So 55 plus 20, oh, that's 25. So it's plus 26. So 50, or we had to add 1 and 20, or we had a 55 plus 1 plus 25. So that's going to be 81. So So that's number 7. All right, I'm going to delete that and do number 8 over here. Okay, so number 8, the last one here. So this will be 8. Okay, so we're going to have, we got to move x squared to the other side. So add x squared to both sides. So we get x squared plus 8x plus y squared plus 32y equals negative 263. So it's going to be x squared plus 8x plus something plus y squared plus 32y plus something equals negative 263. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 squared is 16. 32 divided by 2 is 16. 16 squared is 256. Let me put in the calculator just to make sure. Yeah, 256. Okay. This is a perfect square. X plus 4, right? 4 and 4, add to 8, multiply to 16. So that's a perfect square. Here again is a perfect square. So 16 and 16? 16 and 16 add to 32. 16 and 16 multiply to 256. If we added 16 to that side, we had to add 16 to this side. And we had to add 256, which is going to give us 9. Right, so 16 minus 263 plus 256. It's a 7 gap there, so that'll cancel, and then 9 are left. So number 8 is x plus 4. So the center here is negative 4, negative 16, and the radius is 3. Okay. And that is that. So that's the extra credit, complete the square.